Hi folks, Tom Krzystof with you again today, and I'd like to speak to you about persona and presentation. I had a great question sent in to me asking how I choose effects and material for my act, and that's not something you could get into in a quick video blog, but what it did spark in me is something I think everybody should understand, and that is persona and presentation. You see, in selecting material for my routines, for my act, I've noticed that there are some things that I could get out of a book or DVD or whatever the case that fit me perfectly, and I don't need to change much, if anything. Unfortunately, those routines are very few and far between. It's a very small portion of what I do and how I do it. As a matter of fact, in my current show, there's only one routine like that, and even that has slight modifications because it fits my stage persona, my personality. And I have to say, the single most important question I think in any performer's um, setup of their character is probably the one that magicians look at the least, and that is, who am I? And I'll illustrate this with a little story in a minute, but it's a good question to ask because once you identify what your persona is going to be, you could look at an effect and say, wow, that's a dynamite effect. It fits this character perfectly, and that routine could fit my show. Or you could look at the effect and think, wow, that's a great effect, but it'll never work for me. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of great stuff on the market that I could never perform because it wouldn't be believable in my character. So what I'm going to ask you to do is really take some time to sit back and define who you are on stage. It could be an extension of your natural personality. It could be something totally abstract that's not even close to being you. But ask the question of who you are, and you'll see that certain routines that you're doing right now might not fit your character. And let me give you a good example of this. In mind reading, I love to do muscle reading, Hellstrom. It's a great routine. It's been very effective for me, but I tried to shift my persona to that of a tracker. I was trained by one of the best trackers here in the States, and tracking and wilderness survival are my hobbies and a passion. It's a natural extension of my personality. It seems like it would be a perfect fit. And what ended up happening was I was doing a muscle reading routine. I found the hidden item, and when people asked me, how did you do that? I said, well, it's really interesting because I was trained by a fellow who was raised by an Apache tracker, and he taught me a lot about reading subtleties, landscape signs, and movement. And there were lots of clues in the room. And the person thought about it and said, oh, great, and turned to their friend and said, so Joe, what are you doing for the weekend? And it stunned me, but in thinking about it, my explanation was so plausible, so realistic, that you could grab onto it. About a week later, I was doing the same routine, but I gave absolutely no explanation for how I did it. It was just a gift. And it got much, much stronger reactions. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. In the future, what I want you to do is when you get a new trick, don't read the instructions, don't watch the DVD, don't try to understand anything. What I want you to do is just pull it out of the box. Don't try to understand how it works. Look at it. Figure it out on your own. And then from there, what I want you to do is come up with your own story. See how it fits your character. See how it moves into your routines. And if you can do that, you'll be on the right path to creating a really strong persona and presentation for your magic. Until next time, I'm Tom Krzystof. See you soon.